We're back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about what I think the next season's Liverpool lineup will look like, or what it should look like with the current players that are confirmed or expected to sign for Liverpool. So not everyone on the team sheet is official. Kirkes and Wirtz obviously haven't been officially confirmed as Liverpool players, but we expect that to be done at some point in the transfer window. I've also added my ratings according to, well, in comparison to what the FC25 player ratings were for Liverpool and what I expect them to be in the new FC26, or I'm going to reference it as next season. We'll start off with Alisson Becker. I think he's 100% going to be our starting keeper. I know Giorgio Mamadashvili is coming in. He was Valencia's #1 keeper, but there's no way he's going to come into a Liverpool team and dethrone Alisson Becker after this season Alisson's had. We remember the performance against PSG at their stadium where he was unbelievable. And again, when we were at home, I think he was pretty unbelievable as well. And it was just a shame we lost on penalties. And kudos to PSG. They went on to win the Champions League. And to me, that makes me think, do you know what? Fair enough. We lost to a team that was capable of going on to win. I hate losing against a team who then gets knocked out by a team I think Liverpool can beat. And in all honesty, PSG probably the best team in the world right now, or in Europe right now, and they deserve to be at the top of Europe. You know, they've built a team that is unbelievable. You know, from the back. Well, to be honest, their keeper, I think they could probably improve on their keeper. But there's other than that, the whole team is just unbelievable, and they went on to win 5-0. Inter Milan. What can you say? It's one of them ones where you just say, you know what, it's one of them ones. You know. But yeah, so Alisson starts for me. And then our centre-back pairings, Virgil and Konate. We'll start with Virgil. Sorry, Alisson, I increased his rating from 89 to 91 because of the reasons I explained. Excuse me. Now, if we go into the centre-backs, Virgil and Konate, I've increased Virgil's rating from 89 to 90. Now, the reason is, well, he's the first Dutch captain to lift the Premier League trophy. We've won a Premier League. It's his second Premier League. He's 33 years old and he's still doing it at the peak of football. You know, football competitions. Premier League is probably the hardest league in the world to compete in, and at his age, he's still, you know, stopping young strikers, strong, aggressive strikers, technically gifted players. He's able to play against a lot of them. You know, and that's why I've increased his rating by 1. I don't think it's improved massively, but I think it deserves a rating improvement on the new FC26. Konate, again, I've given him, I've increased it from 83 to 84, simply because we won the Premier League. If you win the Premier League, you deserve a player rating increase by a minimum of 1. Konate, on the other hand, well, you know, I can't consider giving him 85, 86, because I don't think he's that great. There's players out there that I probably would prefer next to Van Dijk. But that's my opinion. Konate doesn't even make it as into the starting 11 for the French team, and that says a lot for someone who's just won, you know, the Premier League. He's 26 or 27. He's still quite young. You'd expect him to be amongst the starters in his national team, but he's not. Doesn't mean he's horrible. I just think there's players out there that are better, and I don't think he's had the best season. And a lot of the times, Alisson and Virgil, Gravenberch are picking up the pieces, you know. So yeah, I've given him a rating from 83 to 84. And then I think the way the formation should, well, this is in my opinion as it stands, the way we should start it: Virgil on the left or the right, Konate on the left or the right, and then just in front of them, Gravenberch as a deep holding centre defensive midfielder. Now, Gravenberch's rating on FC25 was 78, which, in all honesty, was pretty accurate for that season he in Klopp's last season. However, this season that's just finished, he was, you know, right. I think did he get player? I think he did get player of the season because of, well, did he get player of the season? I'm not sure, but the fact that he was in the conversations for Premier League Player of the Season says a lot in itself. He redefined his position. He redefined the CDM role with his ability to take in the ball, turn and spin on the turn, losing defenders, losing players. His ability to dribble through tight spaces, I think, has improved a lot. Now, in terms of who I'd also like to see Liverpool bring in is Adam Morton. I think he can do just as much, but I think Adam Morton brings in that element of long-range passing, first-time passes, which is what Trent could do. We've lost that, and I think Adam Morton, possesses that ability. He plays for Crystal Palace right now, and there's news that Palace may not get into the Europa Leagues because their ownership group also own another team that are in the Europa League, and UEFA does not accept one ownership having multiple teams in a competition. And the Crystal Palace owners also own Lyon in the French league. So there's a chance Crystal Palace may not play in the Europa League, and therefore they might be willing to let go of the likes of Adam Morton. Not that that makes a difference. I think if Liverpool come knocking at the door, they're probably going to say, yeah, do you know what, we'll rinse Liverpool a bit of money, but yeah, we'll take the money and try to find someone else to bring in their replacement. So I think, yeah, Adam Morton would be a good addition to our team to give Gravenberch a rest. We need another CDM. I know Endo's there, but for some reason Stott doesn't fully trust him. And Endo is, 30, 31, so he's also getting on. We need another young player to be able to rotate with Gravenberch to minimise injuries and maximise both players' ability to perform at the highest potential throughout the whole season. Because we're going to be, a lot of teams are going to want to prove that, you know what, we're not letting Liverpool win 2 Premier Leagues in a row. We're not going to want to let Liverpool go to the Champions League final or anything along those lines, so we need extra manpower in that department, in my opinion. Now, I've not included right backs per se. However, they're still there. We've got Kerkez on the left wing back position is what I'm going to call it, and Frimpong on the right wing back position. Again, I'm not sure if I did say it, but yeah, Gravenberch 78 on the FC25. I've rated him 84. For me, again, 86 is a walkout, which means you're extra special. You're not just another card that comes out. If he does get 86, fair enough. But from 78 to 84, I think it's a massive jump, regardless, and it is well deserved. Now, Kerkez, he was rated 77 on the previous, on the current FC25. I've rated him an 81. I think from watching him throughout this whole season, he's proved he's not sub 80 rating. He's got to be 80 or above. There was a game against, I can't remember, it might be Newcastle or Wolves, where he was just absolutely dominant on that left-hand side, from the back all the way to the opposition's box. And he actually scored a goal. I think he assisted as well in that match. Throughout the whole season, he's slowly developed. You can see he's improved. And that's why I've put him in this position, left wing back. And this is what I think Slot will probably do, because they're young. Both are wing backs. They're very, very young. So what we'd expect of Kerkez is to obviously drop back when we're defending. Same with Frimpong, drop back when we're defending. And we would have 5 at the back. Maka and Sobs will drop slightly deeper, just in front of Grav. And would expect Gakpo to sit where Kerkez would be, Salah to be where Frimpong would be, and Wirtz to be where Maka and Szoboszlai would be defensively. And then going forward, of course, this is what I'd expect it to be. But once we're actually in the attack, I'd expect Frimpong and Kerkez to be round the outside of Gakpo and Salah to squeeze in towards where Wirtz is, and Wirtz will slightly be able to drop back as a false 9, pick up the passes left and right, because that's what he does. But we'll get onto that. That's my thought behind the 2 wing backs. But we'll get into the specifics. We'll get into the specifics of it once I've gone through the whole team. So that's what I expect of Kerkez and Frimpong, and that's why I put them in these positions. They're going to have to work a lot now. Depending on who Liverpool release, whether that's Robertson, whether that's Tsimikas. I do think it'll probably be Tsimikas, just so we have a bit of experience on that left-hand side. And what I probably would do, actually, is switch Szoboszlai and McAllister, just so that we have that Hungarian link-up with Kerkez and Szoboszlai on that side. So, yeah, and I'd probably switch Virgil and Konate, so we have Frimpong and Virgil link up there, Gravenberch there, etc., etc. Maka and Soboslai, again, I see that as an interchangeable position. If one wants to go up, one can sit down. If one wants to support, it will be rotational, you know. McAllister's rating on the previous game was 86. I bumped it up by 2. I think he was just unstoppable, really. Most of the time, he gave it his all throughout the whole season, every single match. He scored some absolute screamers, got a few assists under his name, and look, he's won a World Cup and he's just won the Premier League. Like this player is he's amazing to watch, and I can't wait to see the link up between him and Wirtz. So yeah, that's why I bumped up his rating to 88. Now Szoboszlai, again, he was rated 81, which in that slot, Jurgen Klopp final season, it makes sense. It wasn't too great. I think 81 was a little bit disrespectful, but I think this season he's probably earned himself an 84, 85 rating. I've given him the benefit to be 85, not to be a walkout just yet, because I mean, he puts in all the work, but there's times where he could literally be shooting, could be finding the link on play, but sometimes he just, looks to pass the ball left to right. That position, I want to see someone who can pick those little, like, thread the needle in between the defensive lines. When you've got the likes of Salah and Diaz and Gakpo and Nunes from last season, that's what I would have wanted to see. Whereas Maka would be trying to find those passes, and that's why Maka has got, an extra 2. Granted, Szoboszlai has gained an extra 4, so I don't think if I was subs, I won't complain about that. Frimpong on as the right wing back, again, it's a lot of energy up and down that pitch. Whenever he needs to come off, we've got Bradley, who pretty much does the exact same thing already. We might as well play this formation. That's exactly what I would do. Now, these 2 wing backs are quick enough to get back. If we're coming against the counter attack where they're up there, then we'd expect Maka and Sobs to kind of fill in that gap until these guys return into the normal positions. Yes, it's hard, but that's football at the end of the day. You're going to get caught out a few times, but I think it's a very aggressive formation, the one I've basically put up there. Frimpong, he was rated, what was he rated? 84. I've given him 85. I didn't really watch too much of him last season, but I know what kind of player he is, and every time I did watch, I was 100%. Do you know what? No, I did watch quite a few of his games last season, and he was really, really impressive. He got a lot of assists under his name, a lot of goals under his name. Both him and Wirtz together, unbelievable combination. I think last season, nearly 100 goals and assists combined between them two. So we're bringing that to Liverpool with Salah. It's a scary thought, in my opinion. It's a very scary thought. Again, Bradley could easily start some matches. Robertson could easily start some matches on either side. We've also got in the midfield the option of Curtis Jones. I think Harvey Elliott will probably leave. That's understandable, but we still have the likes of Bajcetic. We still have the likes of McConnell, who I hope we don't release these young, homegrown Liverpool players, and I don't think Slot will. We've also got the likes of Tyler Morton. These could fill in to give these guys a break. And they need more experience. They can't just be academy players for the rest of their career. You need to start giving them an opportunity. Look at Trent. Klopp gave him an opportunity. Now he's off to Madrid, And then we've got Salah on the right wing. I think he should be playing next season more of a right-sided forward. Gakpo a left-sided forward, and Wirtz as a centre forward. Maybe call it a DCF, a deep centre forward, the false 9. And as I explained, when we're going up, and if Kerkez and Frimpong are pushing up with the ball, if it's specifically when Kerkez or Frimpong are pushing up with the ball, attacking wise, getting ready to cross it in, I want Salah and Gakpo to squeeze closer to Wirtz to maybe drop back and peel around the back post, or to drop back and let these guys be, because Wirtz is perfect when in those moments where the ball drops to the edge of the box and you need to find a nice easy through ball, or when the ball's getting crossed in, maybe he can stay there, Gakpo around the back post, and Salah kind of peels off to the outside, and Wirtz anything can happen in football, but that's how I would want it to work out. Especially if we struggle to get a striker, and we did end up selling Jota and Nunes, I think we should try. I've not seen much of Jota, so Jota might be staying, Nunes might still be the one that goes. If they both stay, then, well, listen, the bench, So So yeah, that would be my starting lineup. Salah was rated 89. I've given him a rating of 91. Honestly, it could be a 92. It could be a 93. Listen, he's 33, 34 years old now. He's just won the Premier League. He's just got the Golden Boot. He almost broke the Premier League GA record. He just needed 2 more goals or 2 more assists or 1 of each. I think he just needed 1 more actually by the end of the season, and he would have held the record. And he's unstoppable, you know. He's a brutal force to have. He's been Liverpool's best player in my opinion, or most influential player, should we say. And it doesn't look like he's slowing down. Now, there's parts of his games that I think should improve or need to improve, even though he's getting older. And that's why I would move him more central, so he does less running, you know. It just becomes more of a forward than a winger, you know. Veyes was rated 88 on the previous game. I think, listen, the price tag says it all. If we're willing to spend 140 mil on a player of his age, yeah, probably one of the best players in the German team, was the best player on in the Bayer Leverkusen team. I think he deserves a rating of increase of 2. Could be more, but I'm trying to be nice about it and be fair. Gakpo, his rating was 83. I bumped it up by 2 as well. Premier League winner. I don't think he's improved that much, but he has improved a good amount to deserve that, and he was very influential. I think it was my preferred choice than Diaz, although Diaz has a lot of the skills, but it just doesn't really give the outcome, whereas Gakpo produces the outcome. Now, this would be my starting lineup because, you know, I just want to see how it would work. I want to see how it would work. It's basically, you got a diamond in the middle, and you got a line of players on the outside. Those in the middle push up and push down, and those in the central of midfield can just interchange up and down. If one gets tired, subs, you drop, grab, you go up, etc., etc. So yeah, excited times. Let me know what you think of this team. What would you change about it? Just let me know in the comments. Appreciate you watching this video, so please click the subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't, let us know in the comments and we'll see what I can improve on. And yeah, goodbye.